Welcome back to the new GOMTV studio. I am Wolf. With me is Kaldor, and we have a Protoss vs. Protoss coming up next.
The Hurricane meets Squirtle. The Hurricane is up against the water Pokemon.
Yeah.
Sounds like a deadly combination, I guess.
It really does. I could not be more excited to see these two Protoss players battle it out. PvP is a matchup that is so cutthroat right now about the choices that you make. You make one wrong move and it's all over. I mean, it's always been that way to a certain extent, but in Heart of the Swarm, there's so many more choices you can make.
Yeah, it's definitely true. We've seen so many Stargate openings. In the beginning of the beta, everyone was just using Oracles, and then it started with Stargate against Stargate. Do you go Phoenix? Do you go Oracle? There's so many different choices right now where you can go for. Yeah, Squirtle looking good with those headsets.
He really does, man. Incredible Miracle. Squirtle fighting.
I'm excited to see him play.
I am as well, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what builders these two players are going to choose. And we also don't know the map yet.
Yeah. Squirtle was always one of the players that I had the best relationship with here in Korea, and I really, really love to see him in the booth here for his new team. Was a little bit sad when he was teamless for quite a while after he left StarTale, and right now he has to prove it again. He was in the finals against MVP, played really well. But MVP was stronger, defeated him in the last game.
DMZ is the map of choice, so we are going to see our new GSL DMZ map. Two-player map, a lot of different walkways in the middle of the map where you have high and low grounds alternating.
How cool would it have been if they called the map DBZ? That would have been much more exciting.
Well, maybe it's a sign of the times, I don't know, but DMZ is definitely a very intense map name. For those guys who don't know, DMZ stands for Demilitarized Zone. We're going to see a lot of Protoss military going into this one, though.
And we see us going into the game right now. The match is about to start. Guys, get ready. This is a Protoss versus Protoss in Heart of the Swarm. We have the GSTL Season 1 2013 LGIM up against Team FXO. Brought to you by Colin Wolf. Starting to the top right, our first player, our first Protoss, starting in orange here. Because we don't have a observer computer today, we have no idea who he is. Ken.
FXO Hurricane.
Thank you, Ken. You're so kind.
Thank you very much, Ken. Ken has been stepping up.
He really has. He's doing a lot better.
Yeah, he made a lot of mistakes in the old studio, but I feel like he's... Bottom right now, we have a Hurricane's opponent. It's the water Pokemon starting for LGM, not for Team StarTale.
LGIM Squirtle.
I want to put something out there. I think that the reason why so many of these players change their ID is because with the new recording of IDs, it's kind of their chance. Like, you can't switch your ID unless the voice is to be recorded. So I guess Gom asked him, if you're going to change your ID, now is the time. So it's kind of Ken's fault, I guess, in a way, that these guys get their new IDs. Or not his fault, but his opportunity given.
You really think that's the reason?
I think that might be. I mean, if I were doing the recordings, I mean, obviously they can record at any time, and they do that, and Street Fighter Voice has done that several times when new players come in, for example, but...
I can't remember when Bjorn had this awful idea to change his ID to Ghost King. Didn't we have a Street Fighter Voice with Ghost King? I can't even remember.
I don't think so, but I don't remember either.
I know that at the beginning of the name change, we didn't have new recordings, but...
Boom, boom, boom.
Someone's not Widow Mines.
Yeah. Widow Mine looks pretty cool like that. I like how he, depicted it being cloaked.
Yeah.
So, Protoss vs. Protoss, let's talk about this a little bit right now. Protoss vs. Protoss matchup where Phoenix kind of dominate, but if you go for Void Rays, for example, you have a lot of different expansion timings you can use, and Void Rays are so good against Stalkers with their new charge-up ability, it's insane.
Oh yeah, it's definitely crazy. I mean, back in the old days, you could really go for a lot of Stalkers and counter Void Rays quite easily, but these days, Void Rays, they obliterate Stalkers. It is crazy. The first time you're really used to what you observed in Rings of Liberty, and you see a game and you see like, wow, this guy doesn't stand a chance. There's a couple of Void Rays. Look how many Stalkers there are, and suddenly all of them are gone. You're like, what just happened?
Yeah, and it's kind of insane. I wonder how these two players will open up the Steep Void Rays at all. the normal response to Void Rays or Phoenixes, if they get high in number, is just charge Zealots with some Archons mixed in, because Archons, of course, are not armored, and Zealots are not either, so the Void doesn't get any of those advantages. And Twilight Council goes down here, and here's the weirdness about PvP, because Stargate openings have got more popular, so have DTs, because DTs need to be detected, and unless you have an Oracle, you're not going to see them, and you might just lose because of the build order.
Yeah. And the one thing is, of course, with the Twilight Council, you can still go into Blink Stalkers, but you can do a lot more. The DTs are so much more accessible than they were in Wings of Liberty, and then you can also morph into Archons if you want to defend against air units. So this is definitely something that we could see here in this game as well.
Looks like it's going to be DTs, in fact. And this is working out really well build order-wise so far for Squirtle. And he scouts the Stargate. Now, if an Oracle comes out, this is going to be the best thing for Hurricane here, but I can't see him opening Oracle in PvP right now with how the matchup is being played.
The thing is, like, with the Oracle, you take such a huge risk. If your opponent opens Phoenix against Oracle, you are doomed, and therefore we see the Phoenix.
This is such an unfortunate situation. Now, it's not as build order loss as it used to be in PvP, because he can start an Oracle as soon as he realizes what's going on. But he's going to lose a lot of probes. Yeah. The only way he could defend this is with perfect force shields at the ramp, and without knowing about it beforehand, I just don't see that happening.
Exactly.
Losing a Stalker here, though, Squirtle.
With the Oracle, you at least have Envision that you can use to detect those DTs, but if you don't have that, it's just going to be so difficult for him to pull it off, and the Dark Shrine is nearly done.
Yeah, and he's not scouting it just yet.
He has no wolf.
Robo is started.
Yeah, still.
He will see us, if he can get some good force shields off, he's in a great position. Otherwise, in this game, he's taken out a Stalker, he's got the Phoenix, he sees it, he needs to warp in a Sentry right away.
He needs a Sentry now on top of that ramp, and always watch closely what's going on.
Oh, he's got one Sentry already.
Yeah, he has a Sentry, and this should not be an issue. You can always try to go for an Archon and then make your way into the main base and have a DT with you.
Oh, this is a mistake! He moves down! I can't believe he made this choice after starting the Dark Shrine! This is probably game losing for him.
The DT is in, and he is going to work right away. The robotics is not done just yet. We don't have detection. There is just nothing.
That
mining time lost.
Take way too long.
5 kills on the DT. He's taking down another one. He's chasing them.
Starts an Observer here. Can't even Chrono Boost it because he Chrono Boosted the Oracle. And the thing is, the Oracle's not permanent detection either, so...
It's actually funny that at this point we have Squirtle with... He thinks there's going to be a detection in just a second, so he tries to go out. It would have been much better for him to just try to kill a few more units.
Nice control there. It is finally taken out, but...
The problem just is, we have now a second base coming up for Squirtle. He's going into a Stargate on his own, and if he has the better economy, he will get far ahead in this game. He's already far ahead. He has 12 additional workers.
He is, and... the funny thing is, the Phoenixes now are his concern, Squirtle that is, and he starts his own Stargate. He's going to try to catch up in Phoenixes, and only in certain situations does this work. This is one of them where you can just catch up. You're not too far behind the production. He starts a Void Ray, though. That's very uncommon.
He goes for the Void Ray here. The thing is just like he has such a great economy now with the second base coming up much faster. It's actually already done. He's mining from 2 mineral lines and he just has to keep those Phoenix at bay. But the Oracle is going into the main base now, and an Oracle can do so much damage. Gets the extra damage against light armored units, and this is exactly what we're seeing right now. So many of those probes are gone.
Yeah, he gets 3 of them. He does lose the Oracle though, a bit sloppily.
The photon overcharge made sure that he can get away. The Nexus immediately going for the attack.
Since he did use that photon overcharge in the main though, he can't use it at his natural. That's exactly where Hurricane decides to attack. I just feel there's too much Squirtle and not enough Hurricane in this game though.
The Void Ray immediately going for the overcharge here, going in. The prismatic alignment, as it's called.
Yes, prismatic beams align.
This is one of those names for an ability that will never be used.
I'll use it sometimes.
Yeah, occasionally. If you want to point out that you know what it's actually called, and people are not like, you don't even know what it means.
Yeah, exactly.
Why do you call it charge?
Yeah. Do you even know the hotkey for it? I guess not. Huh?
Do you even lift, bro?
That's what they asked the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Both players going to Void Rays now, which is commonly what happens. When one player starts Void Rays, the other person usually starts Void Rays as well. Phoenixes can make quick work of Void Rays, but only if you have enough of them, and with the herd economy that Hurricane has, it just doesn't really make sense for him to try to do that. Even an Archon being added right now to help against those Phoenixes and potentially Void Rays of his opponent.
Squirtle can now move in, and he has the same army size as his opponent. He has the better economy. Both of them now on 2 bases, but Squirtle has a really good shot at this. He's just moving in. He has the Void Ray already with the charge ability going immediately for the Phoenix. Also, the Mothership Core goes for the Time Warp here.
Yeah, Time Warp goes down, and he traps those units. There's just not enough of them.
And he's losing so much. This is a big problem for Hurricane.
He charges up the Void Ray here. He's getting those Stalkers. The Archon comes out. And, you know, he's pushing it back a little bit, but the reinforcements are going to be the big problem.
The Mothership Core is gone. He didn't recall or anything. He didn't have enough energy left anyways. The Void Ray goes down.
No
and Squirtle
left.
on the move.
Squirtle on the move, moves in, will take out the Mothership Core, and will take out Hurricane.
Yeah, 60 supply against 2080s in the main base, and there it is.
GG!
Squirtle with the win. He takes it.
And we have had a very back and forth series, now tied up.
Yeah, very back and forth. Once again, we have a tie. We have a 2-2 now between LGIM and FXO. Squirtle with the win, showing us his strength in Heart of the Swarm. Hurricane, he was good for 1 victory, but now FXO has to determine a new play.
Yep, and time, you know, it's time for perhaps
Gumiho.
I'm thinking Leonok always has had his strength coming out as the final player, and Gumiho just has to be the choice. Unless Sirius has been doing something that we haven't really been able to follow just yet, or maybe the best has gotten some sort of newfound knowledge, I'm feeling like Gumiho is the only logical choice.
Yeah, Gumiho and Leonok, those are the 2 players that we would expect at this point in time for the team. Could be someone else, could be a bit of a surprise, but this is definitely what I would expect them
I mean,
to go
Gumiho has so many more results and so much more experience than the other Terran players on the team here. I mean, it's like if you told Gumiho to put one hand behind his back and play against the other Terran players on his team, he might still do okay. I mean, he's just the logical choice here.
I could see Leonok more against the Protoss play against Terran. This is just a little bit weird. It depends on who you talk to, which Zerg players, what kind of matchup they struggle with the most. Some of them really don't like to go up against Protoss, some don't like to go up against Terran. I don't know what Leonok is going to do, but we don't have either one of those players.
It's JKS, in fact, who comes out. And he's someone who performed really well in the preseason.
Exactly.
But I did not expect him to be one of the heavy hitters coming into the regular season here.
We saw JKS more against Terran than we did see him against Protoss, and I did not expect him to play here either. And this actually leaves us with a very interesting situation. We expected Gumiho and Leonok to play today, both of them, and now one of them will not show us his Heart of the Swarm. Either Leonok or Gumiho will not play today.
JKS looks nervous or stressed. One of the two, you know, he's taking deep breaths here. He's shaking a little bit, you can see him. This is a new studio. There's a massive crowd outside. This is not something that JKS has as much experience with.
I saw a few games of Squirtle playing against Hyun, and I have to say that he looked very strong against Zerg. Didn't see too many of them though, so and I didn't see any games of JKS in this matchup, so I'm not quite sure what kind of strategy he's going for here. But this is definitely going to be a tough game. Squirtle was such a good player in Wings of Liberty, and he's also a strong player in Heart of the Swarm. I want to see what kind of strategy and tactics we are going to see from JKS. He has to have some kind of master plan here.
Does Squirtle have water in his mouth right now?
Oh, he's going for the water cannon. You know it.
I was about to say, I think he's about to use water gun, or at least maybe bubble. Bubble beam, perhaps, but Belcher Vestige, the map of choice, is actually a pretty good map for Zerg against Protoss. The new changes with the extra rocks made it better for Protoss, but oh, look at Squirtle's hair when he puts a headset on. It's like he suddenly gets a like a wave. I don't know. It's gone.
He's a water Pokemon after all. Of course, his hair is going to symbolize the wave.
Yeah, his hair.
What did you expect?
His hair is using surf here. It looks like the surf animation from Pokemon Red and Blue.
Okay, let's be honest here for a second. Squirtle is just a ball.
He is.
I mean, look at that guy.
He wears it well.
I was not talking about the hair wolf.
Oh, right.
I was talking about the entire player.
Yeah, he is really good with the colors as well.
Yeah, the boss mode here with the white and red. It actually even works with the logo.
Yeah,
and I don't think that's a coincidence.
I don't think so either. Squirtle always knows what to do when it comes to hair dye, but also his builders are quite good.
Yeah, his builders are pretty good. His strategies just in general.
You look at him try to not smile. Look at him.
They're bantering a little bit in the lobby right now.
I've actually never seen Squirtle like really joke around in the booth, and it's like he wants to keep up that persona right now. He's just trying so hard not to smile.
It didn't really work this time.
I think
for a second you could see the real Squirtle there.
Yeah. By the way, this is my personal opinion on the matter, but I think that JKS was probably planned to come out for Squirtle, or Younghwa, one of the top LGI pros, maybe first. He probably has a really specific build order plan for the map, and I'm really curious to see what we're going to see. Like, are we going to see really fast mutas coming out of him?
You know, I thought about this, but the problem is the players that have really been present in everyone's mind were those who travel to overseas tournaments, and Squirtle wasn't one of them. So Squirtle, when I saw Squirtle play against Jan, he played on ladder with his real ID. He probably has a barcode ID too, but does he really play this much with his real ID on ladder that the FXO team is well aware of how strong he is and therefore prepared a player specifically to snipe Squirtle? Or is JKS just the one who was sent out there to take down Protoss?
Yeah, that's the question. I mean, if I'm Shoya, I might be thinking I gotta have somebody specifically for Protoss, a Protoss that's a problem. Not necessarily just any Protoss, but the Protoss that's given us trouble. And right now that Protoss is Squirtle. So maybe he's got a specific builder plan here. And if that is the case, what builder will it be? Will we see like some sort of Swarm Host timing, for example, on this map? Swarm Hosts on this map are pretty decent.
You can go for a Swarm Host timing, you can go for the Mutalisks, which have been giving Protoss quite a bit of trouble, always depending on what the Protoss player opens up with.
Yeah.
So JKS has to have a plan here, and he has the one who could choose the map. This is something that we should definitely not forget. It's a great advantage that you have when you are the team that is ahead 1 point.
Yes. Because even though we are kind of tying and one team gets ahead, then it goes back and forth.
You have the advantage.
You have the advantage. You have that you're sitting in the booth as well. You've had the time to warm up. There's a lot of advantages that go into just being the one who's one step up.
Exactly.
So Belcher Vestige being the map here, the key point for JKS is to not allow that strong late-game Protoss army, whether it's the Templar one that you described earlier, or whether it's Colossi Void Ray, just plain and simple.
Yep. It's also the map where I've seen Squirtle play a couple of times and he looked really strong and he controlled the map well. JKS, he has a plan. Will he be able to beat Squirtle and bring FXO ahead in the team match once again? We'll find out right now. The GSTL